Hello, you wonderful people, and welcome to another episode of Super-Fanta-Fi. This being a show where we talk about TV shows of the supernatural, fantasy, and or science fictional genre. For today's episode, I'm going to talk about the latest episode of Legacies, a great episode. A lot of really interesting things went down in this episode, so to break it down. Obviously, you have Alaric in front of the whole school being like, yeah, we got, we're going to find Josie, we're going to bring her back, and she's going to be the old Josie that we know and love, but if you run into Josie, stay away from her. And I love that literally the one person in the audience is Alyssa kind of sighing. It's like, to be fair, Alyssa, it's kind of messed up because it's kind of all your fault. Your desperation to get revenge. You basically set everything in motion to put Josie in. If it wasn't for you, they wouldn't have gotten sent to that, prison dimension, wouldn't have never been put in that position by Kai. So that's kind of on her, but she's the one that's yawning and stuff like that. It's kind of like, oh, you kind of suck for that. But what really surprised me is Josie showing up, because I was like wondering where she was going to go, but it's like, no, she pops back up. And I think it's such an interesting aspect that even though she's dark side Josie, she's still who she is. Like I said, it's kind of a similar situation of like, she might have turned her humanity off, but it's kind of like similar, like I said, like all the vampires have cut their humanities off in over the course of the series. But the fact of the matter, well, obviously the universe, obviously when I'm saying referencing series, I mean like Vampire Diaries and the originals. But the fact is that it's kind of still like herself. She's like, oh yeah, it's my birthday and I'm enjoying it. But it's like, it's interesting because we end up finding out later on she's actually back for a different reason. We'll get to that soon enough. But obviously Alaric, is working with Professor Vortimer to make, take the box they were working with last season and make it a much stronger prison. But obviously like Hope and Caleb was like, no, that's not going to hold her, because what she literally manipulated the box last season. I mean, not last season, last episode. But Alaric, for him, he's going to do whatever he can to save his daughter because he knows she's still in there. And for him, he's like, this is the best way to kind of get her, keep her safe, also keeping everyone else safe, until we find a way to fix this situation. But, because she had just talked to MG and MG was like, hey, he wanted to, hug her and everything, because she's like, you always see the good in me, MG. And he's like, yeah, of course, I'm never going to give up. And she hugs him and she started to desiccate him if it wasn't for Caleb stepping in. And he's like, what are you doing? And she's just like, oh, I got plenty of hugs to give out. And so for them, it's like, this isn't the same Josie we're dealing with. So interesting enough, they remove Alaric from everything. And it's like, all right, so it's like, okay, so this up to Hope to kind of figure out what to do about the situation. So she, obviously like Lizzie's trying to figure out her part to play in this, and we get revealed what it is that Josie's trying to accomplish, why she came back. Like, it seemed like she got her freedom, she made such an exit, so why'd you come back? Turns out it's because of the merge, because she ends up bringing up the fact is that being like in your 20s is kind of, what was it, like 21 or 22 is it's not mandatory. It's kind of like a recommended guideline, but honestly you could do the merge at any point in time. So for her, like, now it's their birthday, she's coming back to complete the merge and everything. And obviously Lizzie is running because Lizzie's like, no, because like Josie's gonna totally kill me. But Hope's plan is to basically have Lizzie win the fight and to basically have her drink a potion, and so when it's all said and done, separate their minds, kind of box Josie off and, kind of pull her away from all the dark magic to get Josie back and put her back in her body. And it's like, lo and behold, kind of win. But then like, Lizzie's like, but that's all predicated on if I win. And it's like, Hope is like, yeah, it's needed for you to win the fight for this plan to go off without a hitch. So it's kind of an interesting, complicated thing, because obviously, because Lizzie didn't believe in herself to kind of get this done. Because sadly she didn't believe in herself like other people do, because like I love like MG kind of wholeheartedly believing her and everything, and it's like she's like, I'm not ready for this. He's like, don't worry, I'm gonna train you. And we see like a almost like Rocky montage, not necessarily, but you can see an element of it. It's like having her do sit-ups and she's firing magic, and it's like yeah. And then like I love that. I love that we cut back to it. None of that actually happened. I thought it was one of those things where it's like, all right, let's get to it. And they actually did the training and stuff like that. Or, or at the very least cut back to it and be like, that's what they're going to do. We just got cut forward to the future. But this is him planning out, but they were going to do it. But turns out they didn't do it at all, which I'm kind of bummed because I was like, that would have been sick. MG helping her out and everything. But it's like the battle for the merge isn't like a, physical battle. It's a mental battle. So has to go to someone who can help her determine whether or not she wins, and she has to go to the one person she doesn't want to go to, and that's Alyssa. And Alyssa's able to kind of help her realize like she's got a deep fear. And it isn't just about losing, which yes, there's that. But sadly, there's a part of Josie that's scared to win. So for her, it's like Josie's going to win this battle because like you don't want to win the battle, nor do you want to lose the battle. So it's kind of like you're so uncertain with what you want to do that you're not going to have what you really need to like push yourself to win this battle. And I brought up before that I thought, when this whole merge conversation came up before, I think it's kind of interesting is like when you look back at season 1, what happened in that future world. Lizzie was the one who actually won the battle because I think Josie, being who she was, didn't want to win over her sister. She wanted her sister to survive. So I think because even Lizzie acknowledges that Josie is the strongest one. She even admitted it last episode. So it's kind of an element of them kind of bringing that back up from like what they kind of set up in that Jen episode last season. Now kind of bringing that back a little more to the head. But now Josie is kind of unshackled from her feelings about wanting to protect Lizzie and looking after Lizzie and kind of looking out for numero uno. It's kind of interesting because obviously like Lizzie spent so much time always looking out for herself, and now Josie's kind of doing the same. It's kind of interesting because she even brought it up to Alyssa. Lizzie's like, you telling me that the fact is because I'm not thinking about myself anymore, that I'm trying to put other people before me, I'm going to lose because of that. And even Alyssa's like, I know, it's ironic, isn't it? It's like, yeah, the moment she stops being selfish, sadly, Josie becomes a little selfish. Because the thing is, this is kind of who Josie is. They're saying like, oh, this isn't a Josie we know. It is. It's just kind of like no humanity filter to it, because at least Josie might feel this like in her deepest recess of like her heart and stuff like that. Maybe she kind of resents her sister a little bit. Like this is just the side of her that does feel weak, but like she has her humanity, who she is, her good nature to kind of balance it out. This is just kind of like if that like her darker intentions, her like she was kind of ruled more so by her id, her ID, that it would kind of like push her to kind of go after what she most desires. So it's kind of like being driven by that rather than just your natural good nature. So it's like basically the yin and yang in her body is off, where it's like where it was at least 50-50. Now it's probably more like 10-90, kind of outweighs the balance. That I think that's how I look at the whole situation. And something that ended up surprising me in this episode is when Josie shows up and kills Alyssa. I'm like, did you really just do that? I was like, no way. Because like all the time and effort they put into setting up Alyssa and everything, I was like, you're really going to just kill her? And like, I was like, no, there's no way you're going to do that. So part of me was wondering if it was like a fake out, whether Josie and Alyssa had kind of like some working, like even dark side Josie, I don't think Alyssa would work with her. To be fair, I don't think Josie would work with Alyssa either, even with like in the dark state that she's in. But obviously we'll get to it soon enough. But obviously the necromancer being around, it's like, yeah, death isn't just 100% guaranteed anymore with like the necromancer just kicking it around, so it kind of makes sense in the grand scheme of things. Like that makes sense, but that was just kind of interesting. I guess that was just kind of part of the whole setup and everything, which we'll kind of get. I love that like Josie did meet with she astral projects and meets with the necromancer, because I love their watching and stuff like that. It's like, oh, like we gotta do something because Hope's coming up with a plan. Chad's like, yeah, no, it's like Hope's coming up with a plan. She always comes up with great plans and stuff like that. And I love once again, like this shtick that they have where he's just kind of like, stop complimenting her, we got work to do. But Josie shows up and everything, and then like I love the necromancer. He's got to always put on like a gravitas of like who he is and everything. It's like, I'm the necromancer. He's got like, at first he's got one leg up, like, kind of like a pirate captain, and then he's standing up on that bench and just kind of like the gravitas of like, oh, look how amazing I am. And all Josie has to say is, I thought you'd be a little taller. And you can tell it offends him a lot, because like he holds such like he has such high confidence, and just when people shit on him, it just knocks him down a peg or two. And Chad's just like, hey, I'm Chad, just Chad. So it's like, I love that you're still there just in the background, Chad. But it seems like they're working together, interestingly enough. I'm like, okay. I mean, to be fair, it's just I think for Josie, it's like she wants what she wants, and then she'll let the necromancer get what he wants, just because it means she gets what she wants. So nevertheless, with all of that, so many other parts of the play, like Caleb has made the decision that he wants to just, take care of Josie before too many people get hurt coming. Alyssa's dead. Lizzie literally ran off because of all this. So, Hope sends MG after her, and she ends up locking Caleb in the box along with Alaric, which they're kind of like archaeologists, adventurers, and stuff like that. It's kind of like the game that they kind of get trapped in. It's interesting because obviously, like, there's still the element of the real world applying to Alaric. For him, it's like, I got to find this elixir that's going to save my daughters. So I thought that was just kind of an interesting element. So we're kind of, circle back to that. I did love the whole MG and Lizzie situation because I thought that was so dope because he ended up tracking her down and she's like, oh, you're going to try and convince me? He was like, no, because the fact of the matter is, like, I'm all like everything. He was like basically like I'm gonna do what I promised I would do. I forgot what was the exact word. And basically he would like look after her. So for him, it's like if she's what she wants to do, he's like, I'll run away with you. And I even love that moment in the car when they're having the whole conversation, and it's just like he's kind of just leaving with her. What she's like, I forgot what she called him. Was it your green light be so okay with it? She's like, and he's like, it's Green Lantern, and you know that. And he even makes an interesting reference where he's like, for someone who likes to pretend they're not into all this nerdy stuff, you know a whole bunch of like Hobbit references to kind of use against me for someone who claims to not know anything about it. But even she admits like she does know like some nerdy stuff, because she even makes reference of like, what would Superman do? And what about Superman? Can he save because MG blames himself because he's like, I couldn't save Alyssa. So the fact of the matter is, at least if I can save, I can't, I'm done being the hero because I can't be the hero. And even Alyssa, because even Lizzie was kind of basically saying like, the whole Superman thing of like, oh, he can't, does he save everyone? And MG was just kind of like, no. And so for her, it's just a situation of heroes, what it comes down to is being super, not when it's easy, but it comes down to being super when it's hard, And I like that. And obviously Lizzie gets pissed because it makes her realize that this was MG's plan the entire time. And he's like, yep. Because for her, it's like, damn it, I'm not like, that the whole hero thing, it doesn't fit me. The whole cape thing, like, that's not me. That's not my style and everything. And MG's kind of like, yeah. He's like, I knew, it's like, she's like, you planned this all along. He's like, yeah, I wasn't worried about it because I knew you'd do the right thing. And I knew at the end, it's like, because it's like, because she was so certain about leaving, but it's like, we're still at the gas station and everything, and she's like, and I love her just being like, double damn it, because she has to, she's running away, she was running away from like the hero role, but it's like, it's almost like at this point she has no choice but to embrace it. So they end up going back to the school. At the same time, like, everyone's gathered around. You see that, like, it's literally a ring. The necromancer is kind of being like, yeah, he's the hype man. And even Josie makes note, like, she walks in, everyone's kind of booing her and everything because she's kind of like the heel in this situation. Ironic, considering Josie's probably the most beloved person. But when the time comes, it's like, oh, everyone's cheering for Lizzie to come into the ring and everything, which I think is kind of interesting. But lo and behold, who steps into the ring? None other than Hope. And it's like having to make a badass entrance where she's flipping. It's so interesting because I feel like we never get to, maybe I'm not remembering correct, like, we never get to see like full-blown witch battles in the Vampire Diaries universe. Like, I feel like we never had like witch offs necessarily. Because like it was full-blown like DBZ, like, blasting energy towards each other. That's never been a thing in it. Like, because any magic that's ever been a thing, like, you'll summon up the elements and stuff like that, sure, and you'll do stuff like that will affect someone on a mental level, but it's never like to the crazy level it is. I think obviously with Legacies, it kind of felt like, let's kind of step it up, especially because we're having two powerful witches. Cause I love, like, Josie was going around being like, since Lizzie's not here, who should I start with? The vampires, the witches, or the werewolves? And then like, Hope made her entrance. It's like, how about all three? I'm like, yeah, super hyped. But the fact of the matter is, the fight is a little bit of a draw because even, Josie is like, you aren't fighting at full power. And even she's like, you're not either. The fact of the matter is, you are still in there, Josie, but it seems like for an instant, Hope was able to reach Josie in that moment. But the dark magic ends up taking over and she plans to kill her, even to the point levitating her in the air and going to bring her down on a piece of sharpened wood. But lo and behold, who steps into the ring? It's like none other than Lizzie saving Hope at the last second. And I love Josie being like, you're late. And she's like, I'm here just in time to kick your ass. I'm like, yeah! And shit like that gets you super hyped. Sadly, we don't get to see the full scale battle. I mean, to be fair, it is a mental battle, so it would have been interesting to see that. But regardless of all that, I didn't talk about it, but obviously Hope has our own little plans with Landon, which we'll kind of circle back to that soon enough. Which Landon's got his own thing this episode because he's looking after Raphael, because Raphael's kind of like getting glimpses of something, and it's just like he's not sure what it was, but then like he remembers a place. And then he goes there, and there's a pile of blood. Like, oh, did you kill someone? Well, because Raphael believes he killed someone because of all the blood that's there. Which obviously Landon's like, that's what the conversation was. Because Landon was like, he believed in Raphael, but Raphael didn't believe in himself. He's like, I wish I could believe in myself like you believe into me. Because it was like, oh, drop blood on this tray and it'll reveal who the person was, who the blood belongs to. And, you know, for Landon, it's like, no, we don't even have to do this. I know you didn't kill anybody, but Raphael's like, I need to know. So he puts his blood on a tray, and later on he sees something that terrifies him that Landon didn't get to see, but Landon finds him later on. And then it gets revealed, oh, whose blood it is? It's Raphael. It's literally what I guessed last episode. I was like, with everything being what it was, like him constantly seeing the necromancer, I was like, that's definitely got to be what it is. And the mark on his stomach and everything, I was like, they killed you and resurrected you. Which I didn't even think about this until they referenced it. And it was because when, Raphael was talking about the fact is, it's like, was it his Cassie is what her name was? His girlfriend. Like, her being used against him last season. I didn't even think about the irony behind it. Not necessarily irony, but the interesting aspect of like the necromancer used your ex against you last season, and now you're basically being used against everyone else, which I thought was interesting because he hadn't really done anything yet, which I thought was interesting. But Raphael was like, the fact of the matter is, even asking Landon to kill him because he couldn't trust himself, you know, because it's like, feel my chest, do you feel a heartbeat? It's like, you know, it's like, I can't bring myself to kill myself because the necromancer won't let me. He's got plans, and he might make me hurt you guys, and I don't want to do that. So it's like, Landon, I need you to do it. You know, you still have free will, and I need you to have the free will to make a choice in this situation. Because even Landon's like, you're asking me to kill you. You're my brother. Like, why would I, you know? So that's a whole, you know, complicated, which is interesting because we have a brother relationship with Landon and Raphael, and literally at the same time, it's a whole Josie and Lizzie situation. At the same time, Alaric found his password, so he wakes up, and you know, Caleb didn't wake up, but Joe at the time, like Alaric knew exactly how to get out of there, so they make their exit. So when the time comes for the battle, both of them ends up passing out after everything, and it's like, oh, who won? But Lizzie's the one that ends up waking up. I love everyone slowly being like, wait, you're alive, like slowly but surely, because like first Hope is like, wait, it's you, and then it's like Alaric being, wait, it's you. So I love that constantly being a twist and everything. And obviously, you know, Caleb being like, Alyssa, and he's like, yeah, because she's working with him now, you know, she already kind of had her issue. She's as powerful as she is. She's kind of a wildfire. So for her to be on the necromancer side now too, he has a little more ammunition on his side. But it looks like Lizzie won, but not Lizzie. It looks like Josie won, but I thought it was kind of interesting how it was handled with the reveals and everything, because obviously Alaric's putting on the speech of like, we lost Josie and we lost Lizzie, but it turns out it was all a performance because Jed had saw the eyeball at one point. And so what the hell is that? And he ends up informing them that they were being watched, and lo and behold, I didn't even talk about the best part. I forgot about it, because it's kind of an adorable moment. I can't forget about this because this speaks volumes. It's the fact is, prior to the fight, he's like, no, MG was like, you know, it's like, whether I was there or not, you were going to do the right thing and come back. So I wasn't worried about it, you know, because you are a hero. And so the fact of the matter is, he's like, go ahead and, you know, drain me because you need to get ready for the fight. She kisses him, even though I was like, whoa. And MG's like, oh. And she's like, I want you to know before this fight, whether I win or lose, the fact of the matter is that was for you, not for me. I was like, I think MG's kind of warmed to you. Like, I think there is a part of you that's it because how wholeheartedly MG believes in her. You know, I think like because no one believes in her like MG does. That despite everything, like what he had brought up last episode, that he'll always come running to help her, despite anything, and he didn't want that to change. So I just thought it was a beautiful element. But then we find out like Lizzie wakes up and it's like, oh, the reason why she wakes up is because because at one point we see Landon kind of crumpling over, and it's like, yeah, this is part of Hope's plan B, and it's like, what is this about? They basically tie their lives together. Him being an immortal, the moment he dies, even if the moment Lizzie dies, he would die as well. But because they're immortal, because he's immortal, when he comes back, she does too. So, and it's interesting finding out like the little intricacies of like at that time while they were both knocked out in that instant, MG brought Hope over quickly, connected her mind with Josie's mind, and so it turns out that was like the plan B. That was like the plan in case Lizzie didn't win. This was kind of like the backup plan. So that was kind of interesting in the grand scheme. I mean, to be fair, I guess that was kind of actually the whole plan. I thought it was just plan B, but I guess, I guess the potion kind of played its other purposes as well if she had one. But regardless, I just thought that was I was like, oh, that's interesting to see that kind of ended up playing out the way it is. But it's like, we got to keep up the pretenses. So it's like, no one can know what happened to Hope. You've got like, no one can know that you're alive either. We got to let Josie as well as the necromancer believe you to be dead. I'm assuming, I could be wrong, but I'm assuming that's going to mean having Lizzie probably either stay hidden or have her walk around as Hope, because if there's no Hope Michelson, then it's going to blow up their little charade and everything, So I didn't even talk about it, but I did love that like Josie is leaning into the whole villain thing, because she shows up with a posse and everything, and it's like, oh, like there's more of you, and she's like, yeah, every supervillain needs a group of supervillains, so which obviously the contrast of like, MG being the hero type of character because of his love of comic books and stuff like that, being right across from a new supervillain and everything. It's interesting, like the element of like what they set up. But it turns out we kind of understand more about what it is what the necromancer wants. His plan is to summon Malivore and then take control of Malivore with Josie's help. That's why he needs the dark magic. He needs magic strong enough, I guess, to summon Malivore, but also like, because it's like, but Malivore will be indestructible, especially if it gets landed, because that's going to be its top priority. But the necromancer was like, I've already got that hand on. I was like, oh, please don't tell me. But like the moment like Raphael and him are having that conversation, because like Hope found another way, we'll find another way too. And he's like, oh, I was like, I was watching his hands. I was like, it don't seem like. I was like, do you have something? It's like, no. He patted him on the back. It's like, oh, he must not have anything else. But then his eyes turned white, and I was like, okay, you're just gonna keep deceiving him. And in that moment, stab him. I thought that was what you're gonna do, but like, I didn't see your hands have anything, and I thought like they were setting this up to be like, oh, like he still had other plans. But it's like, no, removing Landon from the equation, because without Landon, Malivore can't be immortal, and it's like this is the one thing that can kill a Phoenix. But now I'm wondering, well, is he going to try and bring him back to life? I mean, would he try to bring Landon back to life? Because I mean, I think that would present an opportunity that would kind of complicate things, because it'd make it so that either one, it's a situation of it's going to complicate things, because if you brought him back, Malivore could still eat him, or maybe Malivore couldn't eat him because he is dead. Because if he was alive in the Phoenix, that's one thing, but if he's dead in the Phoenix, that's a whole other thing too. So maybe that's an element to that. I don't know. Or maybe it is that Landon just stays permanently dead, because I'm sure he could probably use help of having a Phoenix on his side, but I don't know if that's what I'm curious to see. Like, I think it's the latter of just straight up Landon's dead. It's going to be interesting, because obviously with the situation Hope's in right now, she probably isn't able to see through Lizzie's mind. Like, not Lizzie. I keep doing that. Sorry. She can't see through Josie's eyes. So it's probably a situation of like, it's probably going to be like after this is all said and done that she finds out about Landon, or maybe it's while she's in Josie's mind that she finds out about Landon, which is interesting, because obviously these are two people who care very deeply about him. So I am so curious to ultimately see where all this ends up taking us going forward into the next episode, especially with this whole Raphael situation. He could still lay low because no one else knows the truth except for Landon. So they'll be like, "I'll land in somewhere. I don't know," like, or whether Raphael's just going to go straight to the necromancer side. Like I said, it's sad because, like, once again, Raphael's girlfriend got used against him. Now Raphael was being used against Landon. So we'll see how it all plays out. But really, that's all I want to talk about. Till the next time we meet, be happy, be safe, live life to the fullest, and enjoy it. Good day and goodbye.